Well, outside's chilly, with there's snow on the ground.
Okay, you're on.
How you doing? Hey! Y'all know it's me, Norman, Roosevelt, Aloysius, Nicodemus, Amadeus, Valentino, Giovanni, Romeo, Bruno, Raphael, Lucien, and Luigi, Nardini, the beast from the east, the wop at the bop, the guinea with the skinny, the Guido in the Speedo, the last true man, the heart and soul, the undisputed, undefeated, uncrowned king of Pittsburgh rock and roll, the high priest from the Church of Rock and Roll on the east side of Pittsfield, Pennsylvania. Oh, am I glad to be hanging with y'all. You know, as soon as Tom flicks the switch, my life has meaning. My life has a significance. At this effing moment, I am a somebody. You know, and I do my introduction, I call myself the Uncrowned King and the last true man. And that's all a joke. You know what I mean? Because people have said to me over the years, who do you think you are, the Uncrowned King? It's a joke. But then again, it's a joke that is based on some truthful circumstance. The Uncrowned King of Pittsburgh rock and roll. And you know, I ain't afraid to say that. Because when I look back, especially right now, it's a good time to say it because I've been working on this Diamond Rio music that we cut back in the 70s. And this music is so high level, so deep, so manful at a time when American rock music had already changed the world, and now it was just sitting at the top of the pile, making money and influencing culture and society. And the band I was in at the time did not have great business success. We made one business mistake after another. We made 3 different records that all came from different places musically. We were growing so fast. We were growing up in front of the world. You know, we came from a place of isolation here in these Pennsylvania hills. And then when we started getting out, rubbing again other music people that had more experience with the business of music and more time to establish who they were and what they were musically, we were just like skitting through it all. And all the time making music. But the music that I've been working on is stuff that has never been released, and it is just delicious. And so when I forget sometimes, when I call myself the Uncrowned King and I look around at the other guys in town that piss me off, I forget that we're the Uncrowned King. What's the word? The rock that it stands on goes back to the 70s, playing with the Fish and playing with Frank Zori and the Bead Man. Well, and Bubs McKeag. Come on, you kidding me? What we were doing was very nice, and it hasn't been remembered by the Pittsburgh music elite. But that doesn't take away what it was and what it did to me. And it started me off on my pursuit of high level greatness all the way through. I've been chasing. Being good isn't what I'm interested in. Doing good music. I'm not interested in good. I'm interested in magic. I'm in the magic business. That's what I'm interested in. Families and great. Well, I never had time for anything else ever, other than music. And that's the craziness of it all. Hey, the Christmas season is here, man. I was out. I go to the same grocery, and Christmas songs they're cool. They really are. A lot of them were written in the 1940s. And then you can tell a 1940s song by the structure. First of what you do, you take that song, you take off all its clothes. You strip it naked. And now you can see what it has in its shorts. And that's of connecting chords together, making chords rub up against each other in a most melodious and harmonic fashion. And as music has gone on, and by the time we hit the 90s, then they called it grunge music. But by the time grunge music came, it did to me, once again, pissed me off. It angered me. The talented music people were doing these things to harmonic structures that the harmonic structures didn't want to have done to them. They were abusing them. And it pissed me. I'm okay now. But the grunge thing didn't last too long, so we're okay. We survived it. I guess our society in this amazing country, all the different sides of how people can be and how people are. And here we are today. We're at a new time. And one good thing about new music today, they are featuring the singers, and they are finding some nice voices to put on these records. I wish they had some better songwriters, and I wish they had some goddamn producers that didn't play them stupid block chords on the piano that they program. Dun, 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 dun. I hate when they do that, and a lot of these guys are doing it today. And nothing about it is anything that I like. My name's Norman, and I got all kind of good music for you today. Let's do a song. Let's do our Norman Alone. Tom, have you said hello?
Hello.
Tom says hello.
Hello.
From Erie he comes.
From Erie.
He comes down.
Land of snow.
The bad weather belt. That's what we always call it.
I did my best impression of a ice skating elephant while taking the garbage out last night. Hey, I kept it together.
You didn't hurt yourself?
I didn't hurt myself, and I didn't fall.
Then
Black ice on my driveway.
Then you should. I don't know if you remember that story. I think I told it on the show one time about my mother. When I brought her back from the hospital, there's a small grade from where we parked the truck to the house. And she made me put her on the ground and drag her on the grounds. Because she got on the ground because she didn't want to fall on the ground. And I says, Mom, what are the neighbors are going to think if they see me dragging you across the front yard? She goes, tell them I'm drunk. And I says, all right, I'll do it. I put her on the ground and I drug her in the house. She was something. We'll be talking about my mom today. Joints jumping, pimps and hoes, but there's something missing to your show. It ain't a party till you get here. When you arrive, everybody get turned up. The joint come alive. You make my blue disappear. It ain't a party till you get here. Lights are low, bands playing, dressed to kill, people swaying. It ain't a party till you get here. When you arrive, everybody get turned up. The joint come alive. You make my blue disappear. It ain't a party till you get here. How you doing? Come on, baby. Spilling out into the parking lot. Inside the joint, it's too damn hot. It ain't a party till you get here. When you arrive, everybody get turned up. The joint come alive. You make my blue disappear. It ain't a party till you get here. I hope I made myself perfectly clear. It ain't a party till you get here. It ain't a party till you get here. Take off your coat. Hang with us. We're going to be rocking for a while. Throwing it, showing it, bringing it, singing it. Girls coming on strong and bang, staying on long. How does Italian foreplay start? It always starts the same way. No matter where it is, no matter who's involved, Italian foreplay always starts the same way. It always starts off like this. Get over here! How would I know? Because I'm a descendant of 100%ers. 100%ers. You know, I'm in today's society, they ain't making many 100%ers anymore. It's all blending together, which is good. You know, people was compulsive and crazy and nutbagged out like me. I think part of it, the reason I'm like this is because of my blood. It's so richly whopped out that I don't have the choice to be normal and calm like most people. To be even keeled. I never chose to be even keeled. It never appealed. I never looked towards that as a goal to be. I always just thought I should be like this. Oh, hey, how you doing? Because it was natural. It ain't a party till you get here. You know, we've been doing this show for 36 weeks. So that would mean this is our 18th show. 18.
38 weeks because we skipped one.
We skipped one because I didn't feel well. I'll tell you what happened. I was working in my backyard moving dirt. I love dirt. I love leaves. I love clean fill. And I was just carrying all this dirt around. I'm trying to move things around in my backyard. And I hurt myself and I pulled a muscle. I think I did something in my back and I incapacitated and I was in a lot of pain for about a week. It was terrible. I hardly slept at all. I'd be screaming in the middle of the night, yelling. And then, but you know what was good about it? The only thing that kept me sane during the time I was in pain was my Alexa. My old lady got me an Alexa a couple years ago, and I don't use it much. But more and more that I'm getting to know it now, her and I, Alexa and I, are starting to develop a relationship. But when I was in a lot of pain, after the old lady would go to bed, I would stay down on a couch because I didn't want to go up there and be in pain around her. I would put on the music real soft, and I would say, Alexa, play certain songs that I like. I like this song called Hop in the Truck by Keith Greenager. He's a West Coast musician. It's my favorite song of the year. And it's about well, you'd have to hear it. If you're looking for a cool song to hear, Hop in the Truck by Keith Greenager. Another song that helped get me through was a song by Paul Thorne called Angel Too Soon. When you hear that title, it rings sad, that title. And the song rings even sadder. But it's so well written. And I would listen to it over and over again. I've been studying a song by Van Morrison called Days Like This. That was another one I'd be listening to. And another one, Sometimes We Cry, by Van Morrison. These songs, you know, I would just listen to them over and over again. Man, I'm glad to be here. Let's do an old Norman song, Ready Freddie. Wrote this in 1978. In fact, there's a version of it that we cut. Well, I wrote it while I was still in the Diamonds, and I didn't get a chance to listen to it yet. But I think Frank sang it. He never really liked it much. But I don't know what we're going to do with that song. I don't know if we're going to put it on this new release we got. But that's when I wrote it, and when I started being Norman, it was one of the first songs we did. Are you ready? Ready, Freddie? Go time to rock and roll. Are you ready? Ready, Freddie? Tell me what are you waiting for? She got you looked down right and it's out of sight, out of control, out of control. Are you ready? Ready, Freddie? Go uptown to see your baby. She's your steady Freddie. Brother, I don't mean maybe. Your girl's looking alright. It's out of sight, out of control. And when you get to the back seat, lip service, and you're moving on down the road. Pull her to a side street, give her a header. Gotta get it up, you gotta go, man, go, go. Are you ready? Ready, Freddie? Go uptown and rock and roll. Are you ready? Ready, Freddie? Tell me what are you waiting for? You got your look down right and it's out of sight, out of control. Your girl's looking alright on a Friday night, and it's out of control, out of control, out of control. Well, out of control. Set, go, man, go. Ready, 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 Freddie? I'd always think if I didn't have to be playing on it when I'd be out there dancing. And when I dance, my face dances its own dance. And the dance it dances a lot of times is like this here. My cousin Dookie's watching. The first brother under Larry. Larry, Dookie, Jerry, Victor, and Suzanne. And then another brother later, Dominic, came years later. All the children of my amazing Uncle Larry. My father's only brother, my father's younger brother. My dad said when they were little boys, his mother used to make the girls, the older sisters, take the two of them in the bathtub and wash them. And my dad says that he remembers. He goes, "Hey, we don't need them girls in there washing us anymore. They can stay the hell out of here." I think Larry was probably 3 or 4 when he said that. "Hey, we don't need them girls in there. Get them the hell out of here." My Uncle Larry was an amazing person. Not that my father wasn't. Are you ready, Freddie? I told you I was going to talk about my mom. I wanted to tell you guys the story. When my dad got sick the first time, and I think when he got sick, he was right around the age that I am now. And they gave him a cancer doctor, and he had a growth inside him down in his groin, and they wanted to cut it out. And so me, my mother, and my father showed up at the hospital like 5 o'clock in the morning. They're going to do the operation. And right before they took my father in to start cutting, me and my mother and my dad were sitting there. The doctor came in and he started explaining what he was going to do and what he thought was going to happen and how this was all going to work out. And then after he was done talking, he says, "Are there any questions?" My dad asked him a question about, how long would the pain medication make him feel weird or things like. My mother asked a couple questions, and the doctor says, "Are there any more questions?" So I says, "Yeah, doctor, I just have one question." And he goes, "What is it?" And I looked at him and I says, "Doctor, tell me," I says, "is it possible that a child be born a king, yet this child wears no crown?" And as soon as I said that, my mother slapped me. And my old man started laughing his ass off. And then they just started wheeling him away. And he was walking, wheeling him out of the room. He was laughing, thinking about what an a-hole his son is. And my mother was like beating on me. And when they pulled him out of the room on the bed, he was smiling. And I thought, if that's the last time I see him, I know he was smiling. Luckily, we had another 18 years together. But I remember that's how long the Uncrowned King thing goes back. I started calling myself the Uncrowned King all these years ago when there was no good reason to do so, just other than the fact that I'm a nut. I proclaimed a title that I didn't have. But anyway, I love that story, and I just thought I was hoping you guys might like it. I wanted to tell it was because today I'm going to do a couple Christmas songs. And the idea for, when I have terrible arrangements that I play on the keyboards of them that are very amateurish and childlike. Christmas songs, they aren't written for Frosty the Snowman. It's written for kids, adults. And the trick of the song is, it's especially, it rings especially true, I think, for me and my old lady, because we never had kids. But most people have kids, and that but when you don't have children, your own children, I mean, we have children in the family. I don't have my own children to fuss over and to torture. But I wrote a song called "It Sure Don't Seem Like Christmas," and years ago, and I never finished it. But we're going to see if I can persist in the effort. I probably don't need it, but I thought for a second there I couldn't remember the first words. How's that, Tom? Can you still see me?
Sure can.
Children sing Christmas carols, church bells ring all over town. We gather our family together, celebrate it. And all I want for Christmas one more Christmas times that raised me up. 'Cause without them here, I sure don't see. I'm at the table for dinner. We all bowed our heads, shifting, looking at old black and whites. Merry Christmas, there's one more Christmas day. They was, as without them here, it sure don't seem like Christmas. Of the smiles on their faces, the simple things, and singing out loud. Take me back when I'm a child again, and all I want for Christmas is one more Christmas time. Wake up Christmas morning, see wonder in the eyes of the folks that raised me up. Without them here, it sure don't seem like Christmas. It sure don't seem like Christmas. A Christmas song for old people. It sure don't seem like Christmas. Boy, I'm glad I got that played. It's been on my mind for a couple years to get that thing presentable. I might change it a little here and a little there as we go along, because when you write songs, a lot of times, part of the writing process is performance. You know, you get it to a certain level, and then you take it out, and then you song's kind of like a jacket or a piece of clothing. You know, you wear it around. You know, you take it on stage and you strut it out. And once you strut it out, or just like we just did there, singing it by myself, I learned things about it. And so a lot of times it's not a great idea to just say, this song's finished. A lot of times it's a great idea, especially if you're a constant worker and you're always doing things. Why not leave it open to change and to make it better and build it up? Because sometimes, when you're writing songs, sometimes the only thing you need when you're looking for a way to like add a bridge to a song, you know, the song's already written, but you put a bridge in to define it more tightly, or to bring out something that the verses didn't offer. Sometimes all you need is time for that thought to come to your mind, and you need to put yourself in that place where you shut the world off for an hour or two, and you just put yourself in that moment, in that thought, and it'll come to you. It might not come in the first hour, and it might not come in the first time you try, but it might come 3 months later. That thought you were looking for, the way to say the simplest thing. Songwriting, the first rule of songwriting is less words, more meaning. That lesson, every songwriter, I think, tells themselves that over and over again throughout their career. Less words, more meaning. Less words, more meaning. And that's how you do it. That's how you make the great song. You know, because in a song, you want to tell the whole story. I've been studying that Mac the Knife song, man, by Bobby Darin. Man, I've been digging some Bobby Darin lately. He was so smooth. So, he was kind of like the definition of the end of that era. The Frank Sinatra era. You know, that popular swing big band. You know, Bobby Darin was like the end of that. He just happened to come all these years later and run into the Beatles, you know, and run into the Stones, and the culture change that happened. But that didn't make Bobby Darin any less great, because when you know, when you look back at music, especially now that guys our age, you know, there isn't a go-to place for radio like there used to be. There was a go-to place where you could go and hear. We were all listening to the same stations, and there was a couple of them, and you could pick which one was more defined your taste and who you were culturally better than the other stations. It's not as easy. I guess people do that now that have like those radios that do things. I'm not up with all that, so I don't have that. So I don't have this go-to place. I just go to YouTube and find one song at a time, one artist at a time, and that's how I find my new music. But it's different than when a station presented. It's different than when, what I'm trying to say is, when Bobby Darin and the Beatles were on the same station. You know, it's like those, it all crossed paths. Bo Diddley, Chuck Berry, you know, they were on the same stations as Bobby Vintone. Remember Bobby Vintone? All his songs had the word blue in it. Did you ever know that? I didn't know that till I was like 50. And I don't know if somebody pointed out around it, says Blue Velvet. Like the movie. Remember the movie Blue Velvet? How darkly fantastic that movie was. What was her name? Rose, Isabella Rossellini?
Isabella Rossellini.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's Italian.
That's so whopped out. She was so fantastic in that picture. My favorite scene in the car, and started dancing, and they played a candy-colored, just to bring it stuff and sprinkle stardust, go to sleep. Terribly sang, is what I had mentioned earlier about songwriters from the 40s. Roy Orbison used that songwriter introduction for that song from the late 50s. And then, I close my eyes. And then it goes into the song. Like, I left my heart in San Francisco. There's like an introduction. And then, I left my heart. A lot of those songs had these little setups that set the scene for the song. And sometimes those setups were left off. And then, you know, they started not even using them. Singers would just like act like that wasn't part of the song as years went by. But I just realized now that a candy colored kind of they call the Sandman. What's the name of that, Tom?
In Dreams is the name of that.
Wow, that scene with that girl dancing on top of that car. That's dark, baby. How delicious was that? She was up there grinding and Frank. That was Dennis Hopper's character. What a great movie that was. And Laura Dern, that was her, I guess, intro into our generation, you know. That's when we all started going, yeah, she's out of sight. Bruce Dern's daughter. How about Bruce Dern? I think he was the first guy to kill John Wayne in a movie. I don't know if I'm right about that. But the name of the movie was The Cowboys. It was about all these boys that John Wayne took on a cattle drive called The Cowboys. And Bruce Dern killed John Wayne at the end of the movie. They didn't like killing John Wayne in movies. It was a different time. These guys, they were portrayed as bigger than life. They didn't die. In that era of movie making. I wanted to tell everybody that on January 1st, the first day of the new effing year. Can we have a new year? Can we have a clean start? Well, we're not going to get a totally clean start, but we are going to have a new year. And she's to come up. New Year's Day, we're going to do a show from right here, Eastside Sound Studio. And this time we'll have our first show where we have another musician to prop my old ass up. And I need it. I love playing with others. I wasn't built to play by myself. I was always built to work with others, because that's how I got into business, working with others. And I don't have that kind of talent to just play by myself all the time and take people's breath away. That ain't me. But anyway, on January 1st, Friday night, 7 to 9, Tom and I will be here, and we are having our wonderfully wonderful friend, Harold Gurley Bottoms, playing with the Manful Handful. I talked to him the other day. He's excited. He can't wait to strap it back on. Oh! It makes me think of the time we were living above that bar, that fantastic bar in New Jersey called Cheers. And Harry would... we were living above the bar and playing at the bar. Harry would get so comfortable that he would wear his pajamas. And then he'd come down and play in his goddamn pajamas. And, you know, I don't wear pajamas. Most guys I know don't wear pajamas. Harry wears pajamas and likes them and brags about them. And slippers he wears. It's unbelievable. It's great to be on a road with a guy that wears pajamas and slippers. You feel like you're with David F. and Niven, you know what I mean? And you know, Doris Day's going to come walking out. Give me a goddamn... But one day, we're playing. He's got a couple in his belly. And our buddy Frankie Ravishere, who also lived upstairs across the hall from us. And it was bad news. Us and Frankie and all our friends that gathered, we wasn't no goddamn good, any of us. And one night we're playing, and Frankie sneaks up on Harry and de-pantses him right on stage and pulls his pajamas down. Can I say how much I love rock and roll and the moments of rock and roll? I just was thinking of it. His pajamas on the stage floor. Frankie Ravishere did it to him. And Frankie Ravishere knew, and probably still does, Red Peters. He knew Red Peters. Tom, do you know Red Peters?
No.
You've ever heard of Red?
No.
Red Peters and the Orchestra?
Yeah.
Maybe that rings a bell. You don't know. He's an East Coast guy, and he had a record out years ago called Blow Me. And it was done to an arrangement like a Frank Sinatra arrangement, and Red Peters. It was done by Red Peters and the orchestra. And Frankie happened to know the guy, so we all just got to be like this here, compadres. That's what they say in that. That's what the Guineas say, compadres. Frankie's Guinea. His name doesn't sound Guinea, but he's Guinea. Oh yeah, there's no getting around it. When thinking of Harry, I was thinking of this little story today that was kind of funny. Harry has a man crush on Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is I guess in today's society, he's like the world's foremost physicist. Does that word sound right, Tom? See, I use Tom to check on intelligent things, because when it comes to intelligent things, I usually don't know what I'm talking about. And I don't mind being laughed at. In fact, I welcome being laughed at. But every once in a while I want to hit one. You know, physicist. Well, anyway, we got a call to do a gig that was in the same space as Neil deGrasse Tyson a few years ago. A buddy of mine from Jersey put it together. And I forget, I think it was down in Oakland somewhere. In a hotel or downtown. It was probably downtown. And there was a ballroom where Neil deGrasse was on stage, and he had like a screen behind him, and he was doing his performance, and I guess there's probably about 700 people in there. And at the end of his performance, they shuffled everybody out of the theater where he performed over into this like banquet room. It was a big room. And not everybody came over. Probably maybe 100 people come over. And we're down at one, and they wanted us to play while people hung out there. And Neil was going to come in and shake a few babies and kiss a few hands. So they, as soon as Neil was done playing, they said, all right, get down there and start playing. Get people in the room and start getting that party atmosphere going over there. So that's what we did. But the people all came in at the end of the room, opposite end of the room where we were playing. So we were playing down at one end of the room and all the people are at the other end of the room. And there's really nobody in between us. And as we've been playing 45 minutes, an hour, and all the people were still up there. And after about 20 minutes, we see Neil come in and talking to everybody and shaking babies and kissing hands. And then all of a sudden, like out of the crowd, comes this guy walking towards us. And I go, that's Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's coming down this way. And he walked right up to the stage. And, you know, on our stage, I'm here and Harry's right over here. And he stood right in front of me. And then there was like a table there. And he put his briefcase down on a table. And he pulled out a piece of paper. And he wrote a word down on it. And he stood right up in front of me. And on the piece of paper, it said one word. It said, soulful. And I got the biggest goddamn smile on my face. But it wasn't nothing like the smile on Harry Bottom's face. Because Harry has a man crush on Neil deGrasse Tyson. Because he's interested in intelligent things. And it was really cool. And as soon as we finished the song, I kind of went, you know, just jumped off stage and I shook his hand and I said, thank you very much for singing. He said, boy, you guys sound great, really soulful music. And by that time, all the people started matriculating down, following him into our jungle. Now we got to be a part of the party and a part of the event. And had he not come down there and done that, people would have stayed all the way at the other end of the room the whole night. And I don't know if he saw that and was orchestrating it, but I know that it did happen, and I really appreciate it. I thought, this guy, he could not be a classier guy. He's not only is he a physicist, Tom. Is that how you say the word? Physicist.
Yep.
Not only is he highly intelligent, he's also very tuned into humanity, and he knew that if he came down and acknowledged what we were doing, how much it would mean to us. And I think he also knew that people would come behind him and the party would move on to where it was supposed to be, which was with the band. How cool was that? And Harry, to this day, he talks about, in fact, whenever we get him in here, I'm going to break his balls a little bit about Neil deGrasse Tyson. Because he's a brilliant speaker. And he knows shit. You know, he's not like me. I just talk, you know, I'm saying stupid shit, one stupid thing after another. He'll tell you shit about a star, about a cloud, about a goddamn thing that shoots across the sky. I love that. Let's do a song. Okay. I got one here for you. Wrote this about 1989. I don't think it came out on an album until 91 or 92. I believe it came out on the Breakdown in Paradise record. Every time I think of the Breakdown in Paradise record, I think of my friend Guitar Slim, the original guitar player from the House Rockers. The real rock and roll guy that was in that band. There were two real rock and roll guys in that band. Slim and Jimmy King. Those were the rock and roll guys. Both gone. I miss them both. But I cut this song again later with Mark Stutzo on his first solo record called Rock My Soul. In fact, you know who called me the other day? You know Felix and the Hurricanes, Tom?
I know who they are. I
You ever hung out with them?
No.
Extremely good cats. They're from they're from Toontown, Altoona, PA. The hardest working man that you'll ever meet. Gig after thankless, rotten, stinking effing gig, year after year after year. True barroom gladiators. He's a gladiator. He really was. But Felix called the other day, and I haven't called him back yet, and he said, I was just listening to that album that you cut with Mark Stutzo. He says, that thing is fantastic. And this song is on it with Mark Stutzo singing it. Stutzo sings it great. After we did it together, I swore that I'd never sing it again after hearing him do it. And I lied. So I'm going to send it out to my friend Marcia, who is a starlighter and would always really appreciate when we would do this song. And I haven't been able to see her, or really most of my starlight people, but I'm telling you what, next year, as soon as I can, I'm going to put myself back up on the starlight stage, start strutting around like a peacock. How you doing? If I'm a fool for loving you, I've been a fool so long. And if it's true what they say about love, it just keeps on getting stronger. The first time you hurt me, I thought I would die. The second time I broke down and I cried. Third time you hurt me, I played it cool. I guess I'm 3 times your fool. And if I knew that you'd found another, baby, I'd just play along. I'd be blue. Ooh, long as I would suffer until you found your way back home. First time you hurt me, I thought I would die. The second time I broke down and I cried. Third time you hurt me, I played it cool. I guess I'm 3 times your fool. And oh, I know you feel the same. Way down deep inside, and I still feel the magic. Yes, I do, when you're standing by my side. I'm your fool. Well, 3 times your fool. Hey, 1, 2, 3. Well, 3 times your fool. 3 times you're full, baby. A song filled with romance. That's a nice one to do. Especially if you got a couple of horns, Hammond organ, some background singing. Oh yeah. Strap that one on. I've done it with Freddie Cooper sings it sometimes. Sherry Richards sings that song. Stutzo sings the living shit out of it at Hill Jack. Southern West Virginia. You can catch him. There's a couple things on YouTube of him singing that with the Nighthawks. They recut that on a Nighthawks album with Stutzo singing it again. I guess about 4 or 5 years ago. 3 times you're full. Perfect song for. I always tell people it reminds me of that song. I can't remember what the hell it was. It was one of them 1960s love songs that they played on TL radio. Remember TL? Terry Lee, music, music, music for young lovers, lovers, lovers. He played one slow song after the other. And if you didn't have a beautiful young lady sitting beside you with your arm around her and you just like licking the side of her face, then you had absolutely no use for that part of the show. But if you did, hey, 3 times you're full. Oh, then you can tell me goodbye. And I know it doesn't sound exactly like Then You Can Tell Me Goodbye, but I fancy myself writing a song that reminds me of, and who did that? Then You Can Tell Me Goodbye. Kiss me each morning for a million years. With an out-of-tune trombone playing.
Yeah,
you don't know,
I
Tom?
can hear it in my head. Chi-lights, spinners.
No.
Not any of them.
No. And I've heard different things over the years that it was done by a band from Cincinnati, where I have a good friend who they call the Pimp Daddy from just north of Cincinnati. Or I've also heard that the band that did it was from Jersey, which makes a little bit of sense to me. But so does Cincinnati. You know, James Brown hung in Cincinnati. And actually, I hung in Cincinnati for a while. Back in 1972, I think I played with a band from Pittsburgh that had matriculated down there, living on a farm in Union, Kentucky. A band by the name of Borrowed Time had a lead singer from Penn Hills by the name of Big Ab. Abruzzese. Big, beautiful Italian with a nice, big, fat voice on him. We played down there for a few good months. Really a lot of fun. Union, Kentucky. We were living on a farm in Union, Kentucky. I think it was 7 or 8 musicians and 3 roadies all living on this farm. We were up to no goddamn good. Are you kidding me? I'll come over there. I want to tell you another story about my mom. When I was in high school, I didn't do real good with my grades. And when I became a senior, I had already been working in bands and I knew what I was going to do with my life. And so I wasn't doing the kind of work I should have been in school. But when I became a senior, they offered a class called Music Theory and Composition. And I saw that, and I applied for it, and they says, you can't get in it, your grades aren't good enough. And I said, but this is something I know I could do well at. And they said, we don't care. So I went home and I told my mom. I told my mommy. I said, Mommy, they won't let me in. So my mother, about this tall, tough as nails, Italian girl. The only person I was ever afraid of. My mother, my mother made my dad drive her up to the school, and she went in. She said, I want to talk to the principal. And the principal was like a 6'4" guy named Dr. Good. And I don't think he liked me too much because I had a reputation of being a big mouth show off. Surprised, right? Shocked. Tom's shocked. And so my mother went into his office and she said to him, look, my son wants in this class and you guys won't let him in. And Dr. Good told her, he says, well, it's a very advanced class and only the sharpest students, they're only taking like 7 or 8 kids in the class, and all the students who are in it have an A average, and your son's barely getting a C. And then my mother said to him, she said, look, how many kids in my son's class do you think are going to end up having a career in music? And Dr. Good said, I don't think any of them. And my mother said, well, my son already has a career. He's already been working for years, and this is what he's going to do with his life, and I want him put in this class. And she broke his balls. Broke his balls right on his goddamn desk. And they let me in the class. And thank God they did, because they taught me how music works. You know, if you want to be a plumber, they got schools to teach you the language about how plumbing, the concepts behind plumbing. If you want to be an electrician, they got schools where you can go. If you want to be a welder, if whatever you want to do, there's concepts behind things. And music is no different. So when I went into that class, they really taught me an amazing amount about how music works and how to think. And it's phenomenal. And I didn't get an A in the class. I think I ended up with like a B minus. But I learned so goddamn much. And my mom, the only reason I was in that class was because my mom kicked the giant's ass. Because the principal, he was literally a giant, Dr. Good. 6'4".
Had a real low voice.
Giant hands on him. Like a farm animal he was. I guess he was a nice guy. I mean, what the hell did I know? But anyway, my mom got me in that class. Where's my glasses? Speaking of my mom, an amazing person. My mother was made of all goodness, not like me. I don't have much goodness inside me. I'm more of somewhere between a human being and a weasel. I mean, that's how I see me. I have no delusions. I don't know if you
the
guys...
Casinos? Is that the band?
Bada boom!
Of?
Yeah, it is.
There you go. Thanks.
Then you can tell me goodbye. Who thought of it?
Then you can tell me goodbye. No, I looked it up.
Oh, okay.
Dude, you can do that stuff on the internet.
The internet is an amazing place, right?
That's right.
That's where I've been finding music, man. I've been studying. This guy Paul Thorne, this songwriter from Tupelo, Mississippi. I've been studying him for the past couple of years. High level stuff. And without the internet, I would have never discovered this man who. I bitch about young people writing songs today because I don't get the way they write. But Paul Thorne is writing songs today that I do get, and so I get to plug into him. Hey, we talked about my mom, a couple stories about her. Let's play the song I wrote for her just recently. See if I remember it. I struggle with. I'm doing so many goddamn songs and so much work. Sometimes I forget stuff. I was away, getting educated. We were talking on the phone. I could hear her and her voice saying, boy, when you coming home? Soon we'll be together again. I can hardly wait till then. Oh, these lonely days are rough. Feeling blue, missing you, and soon ain't soon enough. Didn't make it home Christmas, working on the road, stuck at a hotel in Chicago, waiting out the snow. And soon we'll be together again, and I can hardly wait till then. Oh, these lonely days are up. Feeling blue, missing you, and soon ain't soon enough. She raised me upright, life flew by in a blur. She was always there for me, and I was there for her. Sitting beside her, holding her hand, with a band of angels jumping to the promised land. And soon we'll be together again, I can hardly wait till then. Oh, these lonely days are rough. Feeling blue, missing you, and soon ain't soon, soon ain't soon, soon ain't soon enough. Soon ain't soon enough. Soon ain't soon enough. Oh! You know, when I play that song by myself like that, in my head, I hear a big saxophone, kind of distorted, and a guy with his red face blowing his cheeks up, blowing some hot steam on that over that part. And then I hear a big fat drummer. Boom, boom. I can't wait to take a band and dress them up in that particular hunk of music. That song just is aching for a big, strong rock and roll arrangement. Somewhere between Bob Seger, Bruce Springsteen type kind of a powerful presentation of a full-grown band featuring a full-grown what? Man! He said man! I take my sippy cup and have a little drink. How'd you like that one? From my mom, Eleanor. Nori D. Tough Italian chick. She didn't take no shit from nobody. Including me. Sorry, I slobbered on myself. But I'll do that. You know, back in the days when I had the Tigers, everybody would say, Norman spit on me. He spit on me. I never spit on nobody. I slobbered a lot. When I start working, and you know, when you're on stage and you're working, I start to be sweating. And when I'm sweating, I'm creating sweat. But at the same time, I'm creating slobber. That's the way my body works. So I'll be up there, and it would fall on people when they say I'd spit on them. I never spit on nobody. I wouldn't do that. Some people got slobbered on. I'll say that, but I didn't spit on nobody. I don't think that way about people. I like to put people, lift them up, not tamp them down. I'm a soul lifter. A soul lifter. Soon. Soon ain't soon enough. Okay. I got another Christmas song for you. Just wrote this a year or two ago. And when I wrote it, it's a perfect example of something I've talked about before. And the thing that I've talked about before is in regards to songwriting. I talk about how a lot of songwriters, they try to write music that sounds like no one ever heard it before. Hey, and everyone's free to make that choice to write that way. I'm not that way. I try to write music that sounds like you heard it before. The first time you heard it, you feel like you know it already. You know, That's my style. That's what I'm into doing. That's how I operate. And that's how I get under your skin without you even knowing it. You know, the first time you walk in a bar room to see this old bag of meat up on stage, before you even know it, you're snapping your fingers, you're moving. I'm watching every goddamn move you make. I'm watching your feet when you're sitting at the table. If your feet ain't tapping, I ain't doing that right. If you ain't by the end of a song like mouthing the words, even if it's the first time you heard it, I ain't doing something right. And I created my character and my music and my whole thing by being in bars and watching people react to what I did. And when I did shit that didn't affect them physically, I didn't ever do that again. I only built on the things that could physically, I could see people reacting in a positive way what I was doing. So I kept doing that and finding more things and developing those things to higher levels. And now it's, 40, 50 some years later, actually. And but this song here is actually the exact same music as another song that I've written that you've all heard a million times. So, and I call that writing to form. Like how blues tunes, it's 1, 4, 5. I mean, and then there's all these million little variations of blues of 1, 4, 5, and 12-bar blues. How all that works out. It can be a blues tune and not be a 12-bar blues. It can be a 16-bar blues, but be a 12-bar blues only because you extended the one chord longer. Things like that, or when the turnaround comes, instead of going 5 chords to the 4 chord, you just hold the 5 chord the whole time. There's all these different little variations, and when you're playing with cats that don't know your shit, you can say to the guy, here's what it is. Here's the difference between this and a regular 12-bar. And a good musician would go, hit it. Because you told them about the form, you explained form to them so that now you can play a piece of music that they never played before and they can be with it. Because you weren't trying to go into a bar and play music that sounded like no one ever heard it before. A lot of young guys think they should write things that don't have any basis in tradition and in history. But when you do that, you're not standing on the rock. There's a rock there that we can all stand on if you plug into the great writers and the great traditions and find your place within those. Well, then you can join the club. You can fight your way in. You might have to kick a little bit of ass. They might say, no, we don't want you. But you know what you say? I'm going to give you a slap. I'm going to earn my way in because I'm going to play by your rules my way. And that's a way to be somebody when it comes to making music. This is a song that is the exact music of another Norman song that we've all heard a million times. I hope I don't screw it up too bad. Merry Christmas, everybody. May all your hopes and dreams come true. And while you're at it, have a happy new year too. Merry Christmas, everybody. May every little thing go your way. Said a prayer you and yours had a happy holiday. I hope Santa comes down your chimney with a bag of Christmas cheer. Stops to have a glass of eggnog to toast a brand new year. Merry Christmas, everybody. It's the time of year to lose your blues. Snowflakes falling and the good times are calling you. Come on, baby. mistletoe, Christmas lights aglow. I'm betting you get kiss. Won't that be fun? You and your special someone sharing holiday bliss. Merry Christmas, everybody. It's the time of year to lose your blues. Snowflakes falling, and the good time to calling you, calling you. So while you at it, have a happy new year too. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas, everybody. What are you guys gonna? It's one of them years for Christmas. You know, me and the old lady, we were gonna go to Chicago to hang with her brother and his wife, and they got twins, two beautiful kids, probably about 12 or 13. And we were gonna go and just chill, and then they started saying, "Don't go out, don't do nothing, don't be around nobody," and so we decided to stay home, and it looks like that's what we're gonna have to do on Christmas too. Hey, you know what? I'm lucky because me and my old lady get along, but I know a lot of guys got an old lady what they don't get along with. Oh, 8 months in? You kidding me? My aching ass. I'm lucky. I get along with my old lady. I think she actually likes me. Most of the time. You know, we have 2 cats and a dog. You know, when you're in Jersey, if you say the word dog, people look like at you like they want to slap you. If you say, yeah, we have a dog at home, they go, you can just see them like picking their hand up like they're going to backhand you because you said dog. Because when you're in Jersey, you don't say the word dog. You know what you say, Tom? Do you know how to say dog in New Jersey?
Dog.
Not quite.
Dog.
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 Say it again, Tom.
Dog.
Tom's having trouble with it. His face. His face just doesn't want to say dog. He hasn't spent enough time around greaseballs to say dog. He hasn't watched The Sopranos enough times. But we have this beautiful Pinwawa. Her name's Lucy. She's a Pinwawa. In other words, she's half miniature pincher, or pinchu, boop, and half Chihuahua. That bitch is crazy. She don't like nobody except me and the old lady. That's it. In fact, when I saw the guy on the street that give me this dog, I looked at him. He was standing beside the studio, right in front of the building. And I said to him, "That's a nice looking dog." He goes, "She likes you. You want her?" And I just looked at him like I was not expecting him to say that. He says, "Look, she's not barking." And I thought, well, of course. I mean, why would she be barking? Because I didn't know her. I didn't realize that she barked at everybody and everything until she became my dog. My dog. Say dog again, Tom.
Dog.
That's getting better.
Dog.
Dog. Dog. Dog. Reminds me of that thing we did the other couple weeks ago about my friend Peter. He was here from South Africa, and he speaks like with a very beautiful, distinguished English accent, and he calls himself Peter. And I was trying to teach him how to talk like we talk. I said, "Peter!" And he goes, "Peter. Peter! Peter." He could not make his face say Peter. He had to go, Peter. He's beautiful. He's out on the left coast now. But he's from South Africa. I told you about him. His brother's Anton Fig, the drummer from Letterman. And Pete is also a drummer. He's a badass. He got them long arms and he bangs real nice. Real nice. Because what did Frankie Valli say to that girl? You remember what he said? Remember what Frankie Valli said to that girl? He said to her, "You're just too good to be true. I'm no taking my eyes off of you. I'd like to take a walk with you and your dog." You know, I wanted to talk about something real quick here. I saw this hunter, friend of mine, old bag of meat, friend of mine, and he had a T-shirt, and the T-shirt said, "I may be old, but I saw all the cool bands." You ever see them shirts? That's a pretty good lick, right?
Right.
For old, I don't think young people get that. But I may be old, but I saw all the cool bands. And I started thinking about that. And I forgot how much watching I've done over the years, how many people I've gotten a chance to rub up again. And not just play with, but I mean, go see and watch them work, watch how they stand and deliver. And I was thinking about, I wrote down a couple of things, of bands that I got to see when I was young. And this is when I was just like, you know, between 14 and 16. I seen the Stones twice with Brian Jones when Brian Jones was still alive. I seen the Animals twice. Did you ever see the Animals, Tom?
Nope.
You remember Chaz Chandler?
Sure.
He was the first time on a big stage when I saw that the star of the band was the bass player. He was a big guy. I mean, compared to me, everybody's a big guy. But he probably was about 6'1", 6'2", seemed that way anyway, which was big at the time. And he kind of stood out in the front of the stage, and he turned his shit up and carried the band with his bass lines. I seen him do it twice, and Chaz Chandler also was the guy that ended up bringing Jimi Hendrix to England and became his original manager and kickstarted his career because of his belief in what Jimmy was doing. What a great legacy is that? He was the star of the Animals, and then he propelled Jimi Hendrix into the eyesight of the world that needed new stars. And he was the guy. He changed the goddamn world. He really did. Changed the world in a couple albums. You know, those first couple Jimi Hendrix records, to this day, when you listen to them, you don't realize how, before them albums came out, nothing sounded like that. That's the trick. You know, we hear it now. Everybody has stolen a little bit of who he was and what he did. So that when you hear him, you don't realize what a true innovator he was, because you weren't there, unless you're old, to watch it happen and have him whip that shit out on people that didn't understand it. I remember when we started imitating what he was doing as teenage boys, people wanted to beat us up. And we were just imitating what he was doing. He was the guy that created it. So I can imagine what it's like when you're truly innovating. It ain't easy. You know, people don't just like go, "Oh my God, he's an innovator." You got to break down walls. You got to kick everybody's ass. It's not easy to do. It's got to be real. A couple other bands I got to see. I've seen the Yardbirds a couple times. And this sounds crazy. People might think I'm nuts for saying this. Probably everybody's going to think I'm nuts for saying this, because the Yardbirds are known for guitar players. You know. But when I saw the Yardbirds both times, in my mind, and the two times I saw them, the first time I saw them, they wore uniforms. They all wore the same thing. They all wore like gray turtleneck sweaters and black pants. And the next time I seen them, they all dressed on their own. But the star of the Yardbirds was the drummer, in my mind. And to this day, he's the only one that's still alive. And I haven't seen him, but my buddy plays bass for him. You know who I mean? Aronson. Kenny Aronson.
Okay.
Who's been playing with the Yardbirds.
Jim McCarty is the drummer, right?
Jim McCarty.
Yeah.
Is that what's the name of... That is his name. And what's the name of that great...
Kenny Aronoff.
No, Kenny Aronson is the bass player I'm talking about.
Okay.
Kenny Aronoff's a drummer.
Yeah.
that played with Johnny Cougar. I call him Johnny Cougar. Sorry about that, dude. I made you back to be an 11-year-old guy again. Little Johnny. John Mellencamp. I don't mean to take you back to the time whenever I could have kicked your ass. Little prick. But there's another isn't there a guitar player from Detroit named Jim McCarty as well?
There may very well be.
Mitch Ryder's guitar player.
Yeah.
Who was a monster. And who ended up playing in the Rockets as well. That Detroit rock band. One time, the first time I went to Detroit, we were staying at a Holiday Inn, and the chick that waited on us for breakfast was Jim McCarty, the guitar player from Detroit's Old Lady. I'll never forget it. She said, I could tell you guys are musicians. She might as well just said, I could tell you guys are losers. But she didn't. She was nice. But I seen the Yardbirds twice. How about the Rascals? I seen the Rascals back in the 60s. They played at the Civic Arena, a room that held 14,000 people. And they had, for a PA system, they had a dual showman head and 2 dual showman cabinets. They played the Civic Arena with 4 15-inch JBLs and like 100 watts, and that was their PA system. I went up and seen it. I also seen Bo Diddley in the 60s and went up to the stage to check out his gear. And it was so fantastic. Bo Diddley had that square guitar, Gretsch square guitar, and the checkerboard, he had a couple different cool ones. But when I went up to look at the stage, he had a hunk of plywood, literally. He had a hunk. He had a hunk of plywood, and in it, with like a little toy saw or something, he cut out holes in the plywood to fit the different speakers that he screwed into it. And some of them speakers weren't even round. They were like those little oblong, almost like rectangular round speakers, and they were all just stuck on this piece of plywood. There was no back on it. There was no front on it. It was just a board with speakers screwed into it. And he played the Civic Arena with that as his guitar speakers. I was like, I thought, how fantastic is this? And some other folks I got to see back in the day was when I went up to Boston to go to music school. I was young, I was beautiful, and Boston wasn't like Pittsburgh. Everybody that was anybody went to Boston to play because it was Boston's all colleges. I guess it probably still is, but back then it was like, when I was of that age, that was a place to be. There was tons of beautiful young girls there. And there was tons of music shit happening constantly. And when there was a show in Pittsburgh, they were intermittent things. Up there, it was like every night somebody was throwing down. But when I was in Boston, like in 70 and 71, here's some of the people I got to see and rub up again. I got to see the band at Symphony Hall. Not in some shithole bar, in Symphony Hall, where the Boston Pops Orchestra straps it on. Yeah, the band played on that same stage. How phenomenal. I got to see a local Boston band that never got much notoriety outside of Boston, but they were called the Coldwell Winfield Band. You hear of them, Tom?
I saw them, yeah.
So you know. But not a lot of people know about that band.
Yeah.
I remember they had a version of Going Down Slow, that old standard.
I still got their records.
See that?
Cold Wind Blues.
God damn it. Tom knows about this shit. It makes me feel so good that you know. Because there's a lot of people that don't, that didn't feel all this shit. I got to see Freddie Hubbard, the amazing trumpet player from that era. Pharoah Sanders, the tenor sax player, he had an album out called The Creator Has a Master Plan. Did you ever hear that album? and it's killer record. There's a guy named Leon Thomas that sings on it, and this one song is just the whole side of an album. It's probably like 15 minutes long, and it's just in the name of the songs, and it goes like, "The Creator has a master plan, peace and happiness through all the land," and that's basically the whole song. And then this guy, Pharoah Sanders, just starts blowing this like distorted sax. And so rich and so deep. It was like a guitar, the way he played. He just had this, only it was more human because it was the breath of a man. And it was not an electric instrument, but it sounded electric because of his bite and the way he bit into this shit. But it was really a classic record for all time. And it was kind of like what they would... It wasn't fusion. It was like modern. And to this day, every time I listen to it, if you want to get weird, you want to freak out your old lady and warm her up, tell your Alexa, say, play "The Creator Has a Master Plan" by Pharoah Sanders. And it'll set an atmosphere like you're out in the goddamn jungle. I'm telling you, strong shit. Good juju. Mose Allison I got to see. Remember he wrote Parchment Farm that John Mayall did years later? And he also did a song called, and I don't know if he wrote it. Tom might know. You remember the song called "Do Nothing Till You Hear From Me"?
Yeah.
Remember, you know who wrote it?
Yeah.
I don't know who wrote it either. But the first time I heard it was by Mose Allison.
Oh.
And I'm listening to the song, and it's kind of like, sounds like it was written in the 1940s with those kind of sensibilities. And you think what it is this guy telling this woman, do nothing, and it seems like very romantic and very much like a love song. And then at the end of the song, and he goes, "Do nothing till you hear from me." And then the last line of the song, and it goes, "And you never will." It's like,
I think that was by him.
it might have been.
A lot of his songs had like plot twists.
Yeah, they were very intelligent and they were tricky. They'd sneak up on you. But he goes, "Do nothing till you hear from me." And he goes, "And you never will." It's like, dude, the first time I heard it, I was like I got punched in the face. Killer songwriting, and he delivered. If he didn't write it, he knew how to deliver it. And who else I seen at that time? One of the most sexiest, beautiful women I've ever seen, and I've seen a few. Nina Simone. I seen her at Boston College, and she was on the show. It was Mose Allison and Nina Simone, and she was so fantastic. She did a song called "Another Spring," and I was a kid when I heard the song. And it's a song that someone my age now would celebrate. And what the song is saying is, "Thank you for letting me see another spring." And it's an amazing piece of music. It has a couple different feels to it. It gets joyous, and then it gets like insightful, and it's just, if you ever, and that's another good song if you want to look it up. Ask your Alexa. Nina Simone's. I just forgot what the hell I was saying. Oh, "Another Spring." Killer tune. How about Buddy Guy and Junior Wells? I saw them at the Boston Tea Party, and they were playing acoustic, just harp and guitar. And in the middle, they were drinking. In the middle of the set, they started beating the shit out of each other. I forget who punched who. They started banging the shit out of it. The whole place was watching them beat the crap out of each other on stage. I was so green and so innocent, I got scared. I couldn't believe this was happening. I saw the Byrds. I saw the Byrds back when I was a teenager, when I saw those other bands I mentioned before. But this time I saw the Byrds with Clarence White on guitar. And I seen them twice. It was a 4-piece band. And they were doing like free shows all around the city of Boston. And it was just a lesson in songwriting, true lesson in guitar playing. and the cross pollination of rock music meets country music, but more on the rock side, and it was really something to observe and watch these cats. I would call them pioneers for what they were doing with the music. Kenny Burrell, the jazz guitar player, I got to see him. He had just like a upright bass player, a drummer, and a tenor sax player, and it was just real seductive, like jazzy blues. Really good stuff. Miles Davis. I got to see Miles Davis in a nightclub. As far as I am from Tom, I sat from him. And it was when the Bitches Brew album come out. And he barely turned around to look at the audience. And he was dressed very stylishly, I remember that. He was a handsome, black as the night, and very unique character. But he didn't even hardly look at the audience. It was like we weren't even there. And in a small nightclub, I saw Dave Van Ronk, the folk singer. And one thing he did that I'll never forget was he talked. You know, and it was like he gave me a lesson in getting, you know, like a lot of people that I would see play, they would play songs. He, as much as playing songs was a part of his thing, bullshitting was a part of his thing, and it showed me, I guess it opened the door in my mind for mixing bullshit with music. It was Dave Van Ronk, a guy that he was kind of pioneer of folk blues at the time. I saw Big Walter Horton, the harmonica player, not to be confused with Little Walter, the harmonica player, both from Chicago. But Big Walter was older and more old school. I would have loved to have seen Little Walter. He was dead by the 60s, I believe. He didn't live long. I saw Willie Dixon, and I roadied for him. I stayed after the show, and he was such a nice guy, so conversational. And at the end of the gig, I just stuck around after everybody left and started talking to him. And I said, "Hey man, let me help you carry your shit out." So I waited for him to pack up, and I helped him carry his stuff out. He gave me like a couple records he was producing for bands, and total gentleman. Another person I saw was Big Mama Thornton, and I ended up playing with her for the week because she didn't have a guitar player. And she had George Harmonica Smith playing harp with her. And George Harmonica Smith was a West Coast, San Francisco harmonica player. Big, manly guy. He played through a... most guys didn't play harp like this. He played through like a big Ampeg amp. I think it might have been an Ampeg bass amp, and it had big speakers and a lot of watts. And it was unique to see somebody play that way. And Big Mama let him sing a couple songs, and he was... he was very manly, and I was just like a goddamn kid, and so I kind of like trailed after him and watched him work and tried to talk to him and stuff. It was cool, you know, and he was kind of nice, but I could tell I was just bothering him because he just looked at me and says, "You're so goddamn green." And they probably thought I would never have a life in music because I was such an innocent little monkey. But I just want to... I might be old, but I saw all the cool bands. That's just some of them. I have some others written down. But let's play some music. I had a song I was going to play on here. I forget what it was. Oh, okay. I have to sit down when I play this because I got no strap on it. This one's a song about a very Pittsburgh thing. You know what I mean? Anybody watch the game the other day? The Wednesday afternoon game. It just didn't seem right. It was, I don't know, if all of us in the city were just like, I'm watching a Steeler game, it's 3:30 on a Wednesday. What the hell? This world has gone upside down. I love doing this. I don't know why. Tom, let me hear you say dog.
Whitey says, shut up and play.
Whitey said it?
Whitey
He misses me.
misses you.
Say it, Whitey. Admit it. You miss me. Hey, Whitey Cooper, think about what your life had been like had you never met me. Think about the kind of life you would have had you not, and Nason not moved it next door to Beadman when you was 19 years old and met me. And I picked your ass up and dragged you through this goddamn business. I did you good. He's laughing. He's going, I wish that asshole would shut up. He knows me too good. I'll say this while we're speaking on the terms of... Whitey is one of the guys, probably the main guy, that on long truck rides through the years, and there have been many, would stay up with me. And most other guys would be passed out or whatever. And Whitey would stay up. And the way we would stay up, we would say rotten shit to each other. And our conversations would get more and more dark and more wrong. And that's how we would get through these long truck rides. And then what started happening is, there was no plan for this, I started taking those conversations that Whitey and I would have in the truck and putting them on stage. And that's when people started saying, shut up and play. But that's how I developed a style and a thing that, I don't know. You could get across town if you call a jet name. Take the back way, but that could get tricky. Don't get on the parkway around breakfast or supper. Route 28 is bumper to bumper. You're gonna have to tunnel your way through the 412. The Chiefs is sports town, we got the Bucks. The Pens, the Panthers, and the Steelers don't suck. Kick everybody's ass and we don't need a reason. Every day we thank God, Wayne in Cleveland. Never been up on a week or two in the 412. In the city of champs, we drink Iron City beer. We ain't in West Virginia, but you can see it from here. I got a lot of memories running around my head. Things that Bill and Patty Burns and Sophia said. We the home of Mr. Rogers and Chili Billy. Shot chicken on the hill with Willie. Yeah, we got quite a crew in the 412. I've been all around the world, now I know I wanna be living the dream here in Pennsylvania. I was raised up and you can find my kin. Everybody's always calling everybody yins. 3 rivers running through Mount Washington View. Folks like me and you, that's the 411 on the 412. 412, 412, 412, 412. Oh, get over here. Boom, 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 with the Bo Diddley beat. You kidding me? When I first wrote that, I had not applied it to the Bo Diddley beat. And I knew something wasn't right. I says, this hunk of meat right here. I like the words. I like what I'm doing here. I like the way the rhymes roll. But I was playing it to a different beat. And then I stumbled into the Bo Diddley beat for that number. And I never, ever looked back. Anytime you can play the Bo Diddley beat in a room full of adults, well, you're doing the right thing. Ask Bo. Bo knows. How about Bo Jackson? Remember him?
Yeah, I remember that ad. It was like, Bo, you don't
Bo
know
knows.
Diddley. Yeah.
Yeah. And then at the end of it says, Bo, don't know Diddley.
Yeah.
How cool was that? My friend Kimmy in Cleveland knows Bo Diddley. She was a buddy of his, and Bo ended up living in Florida. I don't know where the hell he was from. But she did know Diddley. I think Bo was probably a really good guy. I told you he had that goddamn hunk of plywood with all those speakers just screwed down on it. I think he had like a Fender Showman head or a Bandmaster head, plugged it in, and love it. What do I got? Oh, I was thinking, here's some other shows I got to see over through the years that were phenomenal. I seen Van Morrison play. I just spit on the camera. I seen Van Morrison play at the Syria Mosque in 1970 or 71 when the Moon Dance album came out. And it was simply one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. And that show I mentioned earlier with the band at Symphony Hall in Boston was also one of the best shows I've ever seen. I seen Keith Richards' first solo tour with the New Barbarians when he had Zigaboo Modesta playing drums and one of Neville's sons playing keys. The New Barbarians. I seen Albert King at what was the name of that theater in Columbus, Tom? The big theater everybody was playing back in the 70s, right on High Street. It had a couple different names. I think I seen Prince might have opened for the New Barbarians the first time I seen him. Prince. I told you I was cutting it in at the Power Station in New York City the same time Prince was cutting up there. And I didn't even know who in the hell he was. And I seen him, and he was walking around without his shirt on. Some bitch about this tall. Tiny little guy. But what a monster. I seen Little Feat. The original Little Feat. How fantastic is that? And then I seen the Expensive Winos. Keith Richards' second band. I seen the Neville Brothers at the Graffiti down in Oakland. Devastating. I seen Steve Earle at the same club. Seen Lyle Lovett with the Blind Boys of Alabama and opened for him at the Bottom Line in New York City. I seen Lyle Lovett a couple times over the years. Very, very wonderful Texas musician. Procol Harum. I seen them at a club in East Liberty. Phenomenal show. And then I seen them again at Atlantic City Pop Festival. Seen B.B. King at Atlantic City Pop Festival. Paul Butterfield at Pop Festival. I might be old, but I got to see the cool bands. I was young. I was beautiful. I come walking in a room like this here. Oh! Tight as a drum. I thought I was something. I really did. Tom, I was something. Little Dago boy. We were headed for the city by the Golden Gate when we stuck on a thumb back in 68. Got arrested in Ohio on the interstate. Never made the scene at Ashbury and Hayes. Wound up in Beantown trying to get an education. modulate the status of my situation. Didn't graduate, youthful frustration put me on the road in search of sanctification. I was really good at being young. About guys like me, songs are sung. I can't believe the circles that I run in, the pitches that I swung at, the bells can't be unrung. I was really good at being young. Joined up with a band out in Cincinnati, had a bowl of chili with the pimp daddy. Learn the ins and outs of rolling up a fatty from a girl in West Virginia on the backseat of a caddy. Got a gig in Jersey, so I took that turnpike ride. Met a couple Johns, one called himself Southside. Toe up the fast lane, that can't be denied. Got some sand between my toes, walking oceanside. I was really good at being young. About guys like me, songs are sung. I can't believe the circles that I run in, the pitches that I swung at, the bells can't be unrung. I was really good at being young. You couldn't tell me nothing I wasn't gonna learn for myself. Banged around Manhattan trying to find a record deal. Got hot up on some mushrooms with a cabbie at the wheel. Smoked a joint Molivi's office that had to be concealed, 'cause I'd have took a beating if that had been revealed. Everywhere I went, my eyes was open wide for every laugh I had. The warm tear I cried, lost more than I won, but I never lost my pride. Now I wouldn't trade a minute of that crazy ride. I was really good at being young. About guys like me, songs are sung. I can't believe the circles that I run in, the pitches that I swung at, the bells can't be unrung. I was really good, broke every rule I could. I was really good at being young. At being young. Oh! I was really good at being young. When you're young, be young. Be young. That's what we're supposed to do. Yeah, this C-19 show is a mother. Killing more folks than this, that, and the other. Chasing down your sister and your brother. This C-19 show is a mother. Got them C-19 blues. How about you? What a man po to do. What a man po to do. I gotta learn that song. I've been running around my head lately. I gotta put an arrangement together. I gotta learn that one, and I gotta learn Boom Boom. Baby got the boom boom. You know, I played that song a couple. I've never played it, but I've recited the words a couple times. Boom Boom. You remember it, song? Ever tell you where that come from? We were playing in, I think, Cowtown, which is Columbus. You know why they call it Cowtown? Because that's where they used to have the cattle shows. And the college was there, and they had, I think the college was farming, was all involved in that, and so they called it Cowtown. I guess some people get pissed off when you say that about it, but I think it's cool. But we were playing there, and I introduced the band, and when I introduced Harry Bottoms, some girl in the audience yelled, "Harry got the boom boom! Harry got the boom boom!" And it stuck in my peanut brain so much. And I guess what she meant, because Harry plays bass, he got the boom boom. And when the next day on the truck ride home, that became the theme of the truck ride. Me and Harry and Higgy, our roadie, we were talking about Harry and the boom boom. And then that song came up a couple days later. She got the boom boom when she walks into the room. Spells impending doom. I forget all the words right now. I got to study back up. But I got to bring that song back to life. January 1st. It's a Friday. It's in 4 weeks. In 2 weeks, we'll be doing Alone 19. And we will be alone again, Tom and I. And I'm going to try to teach Tom how to say dwarf between now and then. And but on the 1st of January, it'll be the first time that we bring in the boom boom. Harold Gurley Bottoms, who was de-pantsed on stage by Frankie Ravisheur. That sumbitch, I should have slapped the shit out of him, but I was laughing too hard to do it. One time at the same club, Harry fell down in the middle of a set, and Frankie Ravisheur, the same guy, is in the audience, and he starts screaming, "Harry's down! Harry's down!" You know, let me tell you something. And remember when I tell you this. The nightlife, it ain't no good life. Willie said that years ago, right? How about Willie Nelson? I've been studying a lot of his stuff, and he's got this song out called Maria, Shut Up and Kiss Me. Do you know that song, Tom? Yeah. And it's like this, has this Mexican feel to it. I love Mexican music. Doug Sohm, Texas Tornadoes, Sir Douglas Quintet. The blending of American rock and roll with Mexicali feeling and emotion. I wish our country would have caught on to that more than it did, and I wish we would celebrate that more. That Tejano, something about it just boils my Dago blood. Okay. Hey, we're running out of time, but remember, January 1st, Harry will be with us here. I am the Manful Handful, the Wop at the Bop, the Guinea with the Skinny. And as we get the hell out of here, I've got to go to this song because of what's happening. It's not anything that I'm doing, but it's something that our Pittsburgh Steelers are doing. They're winning ugly, but them some bitches are winning. And we'll take that every goddamn time because we've lost a few ugly games along the way. Not like some teams. You know, when you think about it, how lucky we are to have a team like the Steelers here in town. It's nice. It's nice to have a team that competes and that kicks a little ass for us all. You know what it does? And it gives us all a little bit of a blows our skirt up a little bit. Folks from all around worship the hallowed ground. Beneath the warriors black and gold, across continents legions behold. We're rich, we're poor, we're working class. We're the Steeler Nation, and we're gonna kick your ass. We're in every city in the USA, deep in the heart of Texas on the Frisco Bay, all over Florida and up in the Northeast. But on Sunday afternoons, we all want to be in Pittsburgh, PA, 'cause we're your Steeler Nation. Get in your face without hesitation. We're gonna give you guys an education. We're your Pittsburgh Steeler Nation. We're in Cincinnati, we're in Baltimore, a mistake on the lake, out where the Cardinals score. All over Carolina and in that city of soul. And man, we've won ourselves 6 Super Bowls. In Pittsburgh, PA, we're your Steeler Nation. Get in your face without hesitation. We're gonna give you guys an education. We're your Pittsburgh Steeler Nation. Well, the Chief sure done us right with this football team, and if he was here with us now, he would be so proud of his Steeler family. Man, we're in the city where the Eagles fly, Falcons soar where they have Packer pride. We're in that cattle town where they make Rocky Mountain beer. But here we go, Steelers is all we want to hear. In Pittsburgh, PA, 'cause we're your Steeler nation. Get in your face without hesitation. We're gonna give you guys an education. We're Pittsburgh Steeler Nation. And the Super Bowl is our destination. Yoy and double yoy! Go Steelers.